Hi, Alfred. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you, Trey?
I'm doing good. I am so excited to chat with you about the foundation. I've got a chance to see many of the episodes, and I was immediately hooked because I like series that have such expansive world building.
Mm.
So when I saw, I wasn't too familiar with the book, so when I saw it, I was like, wow, I'm definitely into it. So I'm so excited to chat with you about this today. First off, I wanted to ask, what drew you initially to this project? Were you familiar with the Foundation series before, or did you sort of just like dive in with not that much knowledge about it?
So, Trey, you've described pretty much my experience. I didn't know the books before, and that is one of the things that massively drew me in. That kind of scale, a world that feels so rich and well realized that there's so many different corners to it, and you get to see so many different aspects of it, so many different little pockets of this world, people in their different corners doing things differently, the ideological clashes between them and all the drama that comes out, that's just like right up my street. So I got stuck into the scripts and I just thought this would be a very, very fun thing to do. And I think this will make really exciting TV. So yeah, it was a real joy to be a part of. It was and watching it now, having seen it all put together and getting to discover the other elements of the story that I wasn't part of. It's again, it has that richness, it has that scale, and that stuff that I, like you, find really, really appealing when I'm watching things. I want to see that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And this is such a diverse cast.
Mm.
And I wanted to know, as a Black actor, as an actor of color, how important is it for you as on-screen talent to have to be a part of this representation, especially in
Mm.
sci-fi, because oftentimes we're excluded from sci-fi. And as far as, like we said, these huge world building shows. I mean, there weren't too many people that looked like us in Game of Thrones. So to
Mm.
have something like this that is so big and has so many different faces of color, how does that feel as an actor?
Yeah, that's so not just an actor, as a viewer, right?
Yeah.
To be able to turn on the TV and see someone who looks like you is a massive thing. That the impact of that culturally, societally is huge, and I think Foundation is going to be a really positive contribution to that change, because we've told many stories of many years with no, with not enough people of color in it, not enough black people, not enough people from other ethnicities. Um, I think Foundation is doing something different in that respect by having, as you say, a really diverse cast, by having a cast of top actors and a lot of excellent actors of color as well, who are part of this world. And as you say, it's sci-fi. We're talking about a distant future. It could be anyone. Why
Yeah,
should we
exactly.
create a world which is monochromatic? Do you know what I mean? You want to see all the texture of it. You want to see the scope. You want to see people that look
Mhm.
different. You want to believe in a huge, expansive, multicultural, vibrant world where people look different and sound different. And that representation, I think, is something that serves the show, but hopefully also that the show can serve us as viewers by reflecting us back to ourselves. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was massively gratifying to be part of it, in that respect as well. Yeah, that was big.
Yeah, yeah. And for prospective viewers, but without revealing too much, what can you tease about your character and how his arc plays out through this first season?
So I play a character called Raish Foss. Raish is Harry Seldon's right hand man, I'd say,
Mhm.
um, and not necessarily the traditional kind of assistant you'd expect a highbrow academic to have.
Yeah.
He's not just like polishing books, but do academics really tend to have assistants? Actually, maybe I've gone down a rabbit hole on that one. Probably take that one back. But so he's a bit of a man of action. He's practical, and he has a big place in Harry's plans. Um, the sort of counterpoise to this is, as well as having this kind of professional relationship, there's a very personal one as well, and there's a father-son kind of element to their dynamic, and a lot of backstory there. And so, in terms of Raish's journey through the season, it's I think the show does a very good job of pitting those two sides of their relationship
Mhm.
against each other. A lot of the I guess there's a lot of conflict in the show between the personal and the professional or the public. Um, and I think, yeah, and Raish's arc is no different in that respect. That's explored in a whole lot of different ways,
Mhm.
but dramatically, it's really set from an acting perspective at least. It's really satisfying stuff to play,
Yeah.
and some meaty stuff in there. So yeah, it was a lovely part to get stuck into.
Yeah, yeah, and there's also another dynamic. Is besides Raish and Harry, there's also the dynamic between Raish and Gaul, who's betrayed by Lou, and a lot of
Mm.
different intricacies inside of that. So, what can you say about what's to come as far as that dynamic too, and these, which is one of the kind of the more interesting interpersonal relationships that we see in the
Yeah.
series.
Okay. Yeah. So Lou's character Gail arrives on Trantor, and the first person she meets on the planet is Raish. Um, so there's, without giving too much away, again, there's a professional element to their relationship, because they both they both end up sort of working for Harry, I suppose, is probably the way to put it. But there's also, again, there's a personal element and there's a conflict that
Yeah.
sort of rises out of those two things. Those two different strands of their relationship are hard to reconcile in the context of what's going on, which is quite a lot to put it mildly. The stakes are very high, and they are integral to Harry's plan, I suppose, both of them. So, yeah, there's a lot of juice, a
A
lot of
lot of
stuff to discover.
juice, a lot of juice, a lot of juice. And this is a wide spanning series, both like within the show, but also literally too, because it's filming in so many different places. Ireland, Iceland, Canary Islands. What was it like shooting a show that had such a big reach in that aspect, but then also having the aspect of filming during COVID, like on top of that? I'm assuming that's an experience like no other.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's lots of elements, lots of balls in the air, and obviously the challenge of shooting throughout this time is not an insignificant one. But production did such a wonderful job of keeping everyone safe. Had sort of fantastic measures in place. I felt very, very safe, and that's a huge testament to them to be able to. Firstly, just to be able to pull out anything off on this kind of scale is a massive achievement. For it to be as well realized as it has been, for it to be as kind of exciting and dynamic and visually so satisfying. But then, anything that has this kind of ambition to realize it in the way that it has been is a real achievement. And then you put on top of that the fact that we've been living through and continue to live through a pandemic, and there are all sorts of challenges that come with that. But yeah, nothing but respect and admiration for the way that was handled. And yeah, so important at this time to take that seriously, to keep people safe, and that was absolutely done. So yeah, very, very grateful for that, really. And yeah, and on top of it as well, amazing locations. I mean, it was mammoth. It was epic in kind of every way, and I think you see that in the episodes. Visually, there's so much going on. The production design is amazing. These incredible locations, the visual effects. There's a lot to feast your eyes on. And I sort of felt quite similarly shooting in all these amazing places, in these sort of fantastic locations. There were some extraordinary buildings we got to shoot in. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for people to discover this world.
It's time.
And since this is a global series, even actors for the series are being pulled from all over, but it's a global series where everyone can see on Apple TV Plus. But I want to talk about the fact that for a lot of American viewers, this will be the first time that they've seen you in having such a big role in a series, really since How to Get Away with Murder. So, what do you hope that people who last saw you as Wes, what do you hope they know about the actor you've grown into and the actor you've become in Foundation right now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to. It sounds like you're asking me to give people homework, Trey. Before they watch it, they should know this about me and that about. I just want people to enjoy it, man. Let them tune in, and hopefully it will float their boat, and people will get behind the story and get excited. You know, it was a joy to do, and it's been a pleasure to watch what's come out of it. And I'm keen for people to see it, but you know, it's suppose let the work do the talking, and hope it says good things.
For sure, for sure. And David S. Goyer is such a prolific creator, both with film and TV. So what was that experience like working with him on this project at the helm of it?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, what he's done to synthesize that much source material, to sort of explore, to sort of pick out the big ideas, to fashion an arc through all this material that will work on TV, that will work over, work throughout the episodes and keep people going, but still maintain, I guess, the still explore the ideas that are in the original works, but also keep the scale and scope of them. I mean, it's an amazing achievement. It's reading the scripts, I was like, chapeau, hats off. That was it was yeah. So it's because people have been trying to people have been looking at Foundation, be like, how'd you put this on screen for time? And you understand why. There's so much there. So yeah, I'm sure David will get his props for what he's done, because an amazing undertaking, an amazing piece of work, and yeah, it was a joy to get to be part of it, and to work with him. And yeah, I'm excited for people to see what he's done, how he's pulled off the impossible, adapting Foundation for screen.
Yeah, because we know, like, we all know that this isn't the first time. Like, people have wanted to bring Foundation to TV or film for years now. So like the fact that it's actually coming now, and it's it's such a big IP that a lot of people already know, and like, okay, people have looked for years, like, oh, this could be like, it could look like this, or it could look like this. So they already have these built-in fans who already um, know what they wanted to see and how they can compare what's going to be on screen. So I think it's going to be a big achievement in that regard. And keeping in the theme of this, I always use this word, this massive world building the show is doing. I know that it's David's intent to have the series continue on for a period of time, for several seasons. And if the series does get the chance to do that, what do you hope that looks like for what does that look like for Foundation down the road as this world building continues, and how your character can play in that as well?
Oh, Trey, man, I can't. You're asking questions above my head. What can I tell you about that? I'm just a little cog in the machine, Trey.
If hypothetically,
hypothetical,
what would you like to see, or just what are your general feelings about being able to continue?
I suppose what I would say is that, as with anything, the great test is the audience. You put it in front of the audience, and if people like it, that's brilliant. That's why we make it. But I'm sure David has I'm sure he will have ideas about where he wants to take it, if he wants to take it further, if he doesn't, whatever the vision is. I'm sure he's on it, and he's got it all locked upstairs. But I'd say I wouldn't even waste your time with my hypotheses, Trey. I can't tell you anything. I'm not the man for that. You have to ask him.
Got you. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really can't wait for everyone to see this series, and congrats on the premiere and launch coming up soon.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.